Good morning to all my friends and family, and welcome to Jim's 5am Club. I'm just over here on the corner of George Street and Circular Quay, about to go on a walk and talk, and we've got the light rail here just swinging onto George Street. Hardly anybody on it, but doesn't make it any less beautiful. But we'll see how successful this becomes over the years. So the weather's still a bit overcast, as you can see up in the sky there. Just a gentle breeze blowing through. Then we'll just head down here to the harbour side and go on a walk and talk. And today I've got a book summary to take you through, and it's entitled The Power of the Other. The Power of the Other, and the author is Henry Cloud. A very interesting book, a book summary that I enjoyed reading, and there's plenty of powerful stuff in here, especially on relationships and how to sort through the people that you have in your social circles, so that you're, become more efficient and more effective with your interactions, and you're not misguided or played by the various people types that we have around us. So the author kicks off his book by stating that we can't master people, but you can become a master at choosing and dealing with people. Let's say that again. We'll focus on it a little bit better this time round. You can't master people, but you can become a master at choosing and dealing with people. I guess from a very, very young age, we learn that we've got people around us who have our best interests at heart, and we've also got people around us whose sole purpose is to cause us grief and to try and rain on our parade. So this book is along those lines as well. It identifies the four types of people that we have in the social circles around us, and they make the big point here, and it's a point that our parents used to tell us all the time when we were younger, that other people have a surprisingly big influence on our lives. Other people have a surprisingly big influence on our lives, and that influence could be a good influence or it can be a terrible influence, is the major point that this author is trying to get across. So like it or not, other people, the others according to this author, shape the course of our life for the better or the worse. And we've all got experiences, we've all got examples of how we've been impacted in our lives by other people. So the question is, what do we do about it? What do we learn from it? And how can we get on with our lives from where we are at the moment? So the call to action, the massive call to action from this author, is that we need to let go of people that you don't intend on contacting again. Let go of the people that you will never contact again. So that means go through your phone list and look at all the names and just ask yourself the question, am I ever going to contact this person again? And if the answer is no, then just delete the contact altogether, is I guess the starting point in terms of shaping our social circle and our future. So the bottom line is that we need to learn how to manage relationships. We need to learn to manage the people that we want in our lives, and manage out the people that we no longer want to take part in our lives for various reasons. And those reasons you will know, and it's nobody else's business to know why and why not. So the first call to action from this author is, let me just adjust the camera here on the phone. The very first call to action is that we need to learn how to let go of the people and to ditch all those connections that are bad for you, that are fake, or are basically non-existent. That's a big call. So every relationship in our lives falls into one of 4 categories, according to the author. And what we'll do is we'll study these categories, and we'll go through the categories and see where it leads us. So the first category that the author talks about is a corner 1 relationship. Corner 1 relationship, and it's everybody in our lives who basically acts independently of us and of our advice and of our standing. So basically it's the people who don't listen to you and the people who just don't support you. And that includes siblings, cousins, uncles, aunts, friends. We've got a lot of people in our lives who just aren't interested, totally detached from us, don't listen, don't engage, they are not involved. You hardly ever see them, and the only time you see them is on an invited sort of event, and you basically touch once or twice a year, if you're lucky. So they're called the corner 1 relationships in our lives. The corner 2 relationship are the ones that are actively bad for us. They're the people who continually put us down. They're the people who make us feel worse after hanging out with them. And it's the sort of people who, you've had as friends for many years, but when you sit and look back and you assess your feelings, they just make you feel bad all the time for some unknown reason, and only you know the reason for that. Let me just pop the mic back on. It just fell off. I'm having an interesting sort of day, but it's an interesting sort of talk today. So hang in there and stay with me. So we've been through the corner 1 relationship, which are the people who we've got in our life who are basically in our life but disengaged from us. We have very, very little to do with them, even though we see them all the time. The connection, the conversation is very, very superficial. We've got the type 2 or the corner 2 relationships, which are the people who put us down, make us feel uncomfortable, and basically make us feel awkward all the time. And then we get on to the corner 3 relationship, and they're the people who are the fake relationship. It's the people who you've got in your life, you see all the time, but there's absolutely nothing. There's nothing there. And it feels good in the short term. You might catch up and all of a sudden, oh, hi, how are you? And, in the short term, it feels really good when you first meet them, and, they seem to be really, really nice and welcoming, and, a great friendship, seems to blossom, feels like it's going to blossom from there. But it becomes toxic in the long term. Just the chemistry is not right, and the chemistry is not in place. And an example of this sort of relationship, and I'm not talking from experience, I'm just talking from the book here, and the author suggests that an affair, a relationship, an affair, a sexual relationship, a fling, is that sort of relationship where you just get together for whatever reason it is, and then from that point on it just causes you grief, and it's very, very damaging, not only to your own self-esteem and self-image, but also to those around you, your friendships, your career, and all the other things. And the other example that the author uses in the book is the drinking buddy, the person who you catch up with just to go for a drink, and it's usually one of those relationships where it just goes from bad to worse, with gambling, womanizing, talking about shit all the time. Those sorts of relationships, once again, are not real relationships because you're not growing and developing and challenging each other. You're just bringing out the worst in each other, and it's more of an escape than anything else. So those sorts of friendships, those escapes, are not really escapes after all. They're just going to imprison you in ongoing misery if you're not willing to cut it and move on from it as quickly as you can. So the last point is basically the essence of this book, and the essence of this book is to basically focus solely on and cultivate only those relationships in which you can truly be yourself. Let's say it again. In terms of relationships, the relationships that you need to cultivate and to grow and develop are the relationships which allow you to truly be yourself, and they're the ones that the focus of this book is all about. So you need to hang out with people who make you feel comfortable, people that allow you to feel completely open and honest with. And we know what those relationships are like, where you can talk to people and not put on a mask, not talk the bullshit, not be somebody else just to make them feel as if you're, part of what they're looking for. So if you basically need to put on a mask and live another sort of life in order to be accepted by somebody, then that relationship is not going to give you wings and set you free. If anything, it's just going to redefine you in a way which is uncomfortable and unnatural to you. So as we're saying again, so be free to be 100% you. You need to look for relationships, and those relationships will be pretty limited in terms of the number. So you're not going to find too many people who are going to allow you to be you. So whenever you find these people, you need to nurture that relationship. You need to work at it to keep the oxygen going, to cultivate it, to fertilize it, and to respect it, so that you hold on to it for as long as possible. Because once again, we always know, and we've learnt over time, that anything good doesn't last forever. So just make the most of the moments, the days, the years that you have with a corner 4 relationship. So these relationships are the only ones that matter. The relationships that enable you to be honestly, authentically you, without having to put on an act to be accepted, and to understand and to allow you to express and express and to live your vulnerability without being judged, without being made to feel as if what you're saying and what you're doing is wrong, or that you're unworthy in any significant way, I guess the message is. So as we said before, the author reaffirms here that we don't need to wear a mask for a corner 4 relationship. We can be ourselves, and there's no need to pretend. So pretentiousness, people who are pretentious are not the sort of people that you want in your social circle. Close them out, move them on, in order to build a moat around your sanity, so that you can live a better life, an authentic life. So that's it from point number 2. And the last thing we need to understand here, the last thing that the author brings forth in this wonderful book, is that you need to understand that the best relationships, the corner 4 relationships that you have, won't solve your problems, and they're not expected to. Nobody's going to be the knight in shining armour, and nobody's expected to be the knight in shining armour. But the best relationships are the people who provide you with thoughtful feedback to enable you to sort yourself out and to sort and solve your own problems by yourself. Because these relationships give you freedom and responsibility. And they give you actionable advice to take care of your own obstacles. So once again, good friends and good friendships and good relationships are the ones that don't tell you what to do, but listen, provide thoughtful feedback, and allow you the room to make your own decisions and to live your own life without making you feel uncomfortable, without making you feel judged, and without making you feel as if you've got somebody looking over your shoulder all the time and hoping and expecting you to trip up, fall up, and make a mess of your life. So there you go. We've got through another book summary, and that book summary that I just went through then is an absolute cracker, one that I absolutely love. The Power of the Other. When I read the title, I didn't think that this would be much of a book, but having gone through it, it is a powerful book, and it's a book which offers immediate, actionable advice. So go through your friends list on Facebook and Instagram, go through your telephone and start asking yourself the question, which are the people in those massive social circles that are basically going to allow you to be you and are not going to be pretend, they're not going to be fake, they're not going to be toxic, they're not going to cause you grief, and they're not going to just be in your life but not add any value, because they're not going to be listening, they're not going to be interested, and they're just going to be going through the motions to have you as a friend for their own benefit, but where you have no gain whatsoever. And in fact, you don't have a gain, but you have the pain, which goes with the put downs, with the smart ass comments, with the innuendo, and the chaining, where they chain you to your past, where they chain you to their reduced and limiting expectations, which is not going to help you grow, develop, and become the person who you're meant to be. So it's a time to take action, and it's a time to take bold action. So let's finish off with a positive affirmation now that we've finished this book summary. I'm alive, I'm well, I feel absolutely great. To my friends and family, stay connected, stay relevant, stay reasonable, and most importantly, let's look for people. They could be family, they could be friends, they could even be a stranger, who knows who they are. But the people who allow us to be free, to allow us to be ourselves, and don't try to limit us, but in fact try to put wind beneath our wings and are happy to see us grow, develop and soar, even if it means us moving on to other realms and other social circles. Because the big lesson that we've all learnt in our lives is that friendships don't last forever. Fruitful friendships and empowering friendships are fleeting. And to have friends for a whole lifetime who are going to be interested in you and to be happy with your growth, development and successes is a gift indeed. Anyway, take care, Yasas, and I'll head back to work. This is Jim signing off from Jim's 5am Club. I'm down here on the International Passenger Terminal on a cloudy but beautiful summer's day here in Sydney. And we'll chat again. Bye for now, and Yasas.